My name is Festus Onifade. I'm a lawyer, I'm a public interest lawyer. I'm a child rights lawyer. I'm also a human rights activist in a way. The issue of corruption in Nigeria is a national issue. I mean, it's an endemic. It has become an endemic issue. And it should bother anyone, it should bother everyone. For me as a Nigerian, since I'm still here, I've not moved. I've not moved to Canada. I've not moved elsewhere. I've not jackpot. I mean, it's in our interest that we all take a collective interest as to the character and nature corruption is assuming in our country. And if you look at it, corruption is affecting every facet of our lives as people. And so it's important that it bothers anyone. Any right-thinking Nigerian should be bothered about the level of corruption in this country. Okay, I'll give you an instance. 2022, I filed a suit. Like I say, I'm into public interest litigation. I filed a suit against MultiChoice, and in the course of my investigation on that suit, I realized that at some point, National Assembly had passed some motion condemning the incessant increase, and also passed this motion asking them to revert to pay as you use. So I decided to go to National Assembly to ask for the CTC, what you call certified true copy of the proceedings of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Guess what? When I got there, I mean, the officials of government whom were to help me with these proceedings, with this CTC, were people that were demanding a ridiculous amount. And I asked this gentleman, I say, come on, do you use DSTV? Do you use cable, this cable television in your house? He answered in the affirmative. So I thought in my mind that we are in the same pedestrian. He is also a victim just like me. Unfortunately, this gentleman insists that I must rub his palm before I get what I wanted. So corruption is that endemic and is that bad that most Nigerians do not care about what happened tomorrow. Nobody cares about the future. They care about now, the present. And so in the instance of that gentleman, he insisted that I have to rub his hand. So I have to part with some money because I wanted a CTC, which ordinarily I should just pay a peanut for. So that's a very significant instance that bothers me a lot. And I think if we Nigerians begin to look more at the future and we think more about our collective well-being, we'll have a better country. For me, I think we Nigerians, we should start with ourselves. What's corruption? Corruption is perversion of rules. So most Nigerians, or we Nigerians, we are not really ready about fight against corruption. And so in the course of our engagement with people, our engagement with society, our engagement with government offices, the greatest obstacle I have noticed, or the greatest challenge, is we the people. We the people ourselves are the greatest obstacle to the fight against corruption. Then you might begin to talk about the institutions. So I think there is a whole lot of attitudinal reformation we need to do. The people who mount place of authority, who mounts institutions, are the people we need to really work on. They are our greatest challenge. As a lawyer, particularly as a public interest lawyer, a number of times we've had to step on toes We have to step on toes because in the course of litigation, we had sued government agencies, we have sued people in their private capacity, and once in a while, we will think that fighting corruption through the instruments of the law, you recall a former president say, when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. So people that you tend to step on their toes in one way or the other, sometimes they get angry and want to fight back. So we have learned to, I don't want to use the word tread cautiously, but learn to manage that area. Not a significant change, not a significant change. Past administration till date, to me, I think we are still playing a lot of lip service. We need to match our words with action more. I've not seen so much significant change in the fight against corruption in this country. We have had instances of where recovered funds or recovered property are being relooted. We have had instances of people who are supposed to man authorities, people who are in charge of anti-corruption drive are also accused of corruption. So not much has been achieved, not much. I can say that. One of the root causes of corruption in Nigeria is attitude. Attitude is decaying. And when I use the word attitude, I use it very flexibly, both from the individual level, from the home level, then talking about regulatory attitude of agencies, attitude of government. Then again, the willpower of people in power is not strong enough in the fight against corruption. And so when people tend to take a clue from people high up there, when people high up there do not, by their body language and the way they present themselves, either in public space, do not look as if they are fighting against corruption or they care less about corruption. It's you give people who are the populists, you give the general public, you give them a kind of you send a sign to them that anything goes. And so those are the areas that I think are the root cause of corruption. So I think if you ask me what should we do, then we should go to the root of our behavioral attitude, begin to do a behavioral change from the home level to the community level, then to government level. We will see that a number of things will change. A number of the corruption we have are things that have to do with attitude. Like I told you earlier, corruption itself is not about stealing of money, it's perversion of rules. When people pervert rule, people cut corners. Somebody who is supposed to take a straight route thinks he can take corner to boycott the rules. That's corruption in itself. And so because we Nigerians, we are beginning to get used to the attitude of cutting corners. I want to cross the road. I don't have to go through the walk, what they call it, the sidewalk. I don't want to go through that walk. I decided to cross it via the flower bed. So that crossing via the flower bed, you are cutting corners already. And if we can change ourselves, say no, the best way is to pass through that route. It might look longer, but that's the right route. It might look farther, but that's the right route. If we do that, we'll be building a better society for ourselves. I can tell you for sure that the current anti-corruption measures are fine, they're good. In terms of book, the laws are good. The measures government is trying to take, they are good. But in practical sense, there's more that we need to do. But if you look at the books, if you look at our laws are good. But how good are we in the implementations of this law? That's always the challenge. for me, technology is one of the greatest, let me say, gift of God, because the knowledge for technological advancement itself is God-given. Technology has helped a lot. Before now, there are no things like fingerprints, no things like a personal identification that you can have. But now you now have things that are more forensic in nature that you can use to drive the fight against corruption and anti-corruption drive. So technology has done a great service. It has done a great good to the fight against corruption. The ordinary man on the street is hungry. If you go out there and you preach anti-corruption to the ordinary man on the street, in a way he looks at you with some kind of skepticism. On one hand, the ordinary man on the street wants to fight corruption, but the hunger problem. So I think for me, what we need to do, empower the ordinary man. And that's why we must fight the fight against hunger. That's the first fight. Fight against hunger, you are fighting against corruption in a way. So for the ordinary man on the street, we need to empower people, and people need to be well informed. A lot of Nigerians are not informed. Most Nigerians do not know their basic right, their fundamental rights. The rights that has to do with your consumer rights, the rights that has to do with your basic right which the police should not trample upon. Basic right which when you go to a shop and you buy something, those rights are inherent in the product that you have bought. And so it's expected that the product should work for you and all that. So ordinary Nigerians are also not well literate in some of these fundamentals. And so it's important that we also try and engage some government institutions that have the responsibility of creating awareness, sensitizing people about their basic rights. If you fix people know their right from their left and we solve the issue of corruption, the ordinary Nigerian, I tell you, will be in the forefront of the fight against corruption. A man that has no hope is a dead man. So for me, I think what gives us hope, what gives me hope is that we are alive. We have to hope. We have to keep hoping for a better country. We have to keep hoping for a better tomorrow. And I have been an advocate of we not folding our hands. Every Nigerian must look for that small, tiny space in which they can contribute to the betterment of a larger society. If you engage in what you are doing, you engage in it well, in your very small space, eventually you will see that we are building a better society. So to answer your question straight on what hope, the hope that lies in me is that what my hand has found doing, I'm doing it well. And so I'm appealing to everyone that whatever we find our hand find doing, we must do it well. It is in that doing that our hope is renewed for a better tomorrow.